Underground Bunker. Hey, this is your proprietor. It's now a little later in the afternoon on day one of the Danny Masterson retrial. And I specifically wanted to record this for YouTube because I put out a video earlier on Substack where I said that it was Claire Headley's father who has been named the defense Scientology expert. It's her stepfather. I confirmed that with Claire. His name is Hugh Witt, and he's been named on the defense list to counter Claire. Oh, it's so evil. It's so Scientology. It's so David Miscavige. All right, let me back up. What a first day of the Danny Masterson retrial. I put out several reports today. Please sign up for free emails at tonyortega.substack.com. You'll get all of my notes. Some time ago, the court actually asked me to be the pool reporter during jury selection because when they bring a lot of potential jurors into the courtroom, there's not very much room, and so they only want one reporter to be in there. And they asked me to do that, and I said sure. The court put out an advisory to all the other media saying if you want copies of Tony's pool notes, send him an email. And about 20 reporters did. And so, yeah, that was fun. I was typing as fast as I could and making sure I got everything because this was for other reporters. And everybody who emailed me got a copy of my notes. I sent out like 3-4 different reports today. But then I also put them all on my Substack. So I'm sharing my notes with the whole world. If you really should go, if you haven't been to my Substack. I do my best to give you a sense of what it's like in the courtroom. And of course, what we're doing this time is trying to compare with how things went in the first trial. And so I was noting those differences. So one small difference I noticed right away, Danny was there alone. I mean, he had his attorneys with him, but he didn't have Bijou, didn't have a brother or a friend, and that never happened in the first trial. He always had at least one person there with him. He did have his defense attorney, Philip Cohen, and who had a nice tan suit with a gray vest, but it was very much not the kind of flair we're used to seeing with his sartorial splendor. But the real first surprise of the day was that with Cohen was not Karen Goldstein, but Sean Hawley. Wow. Remember, I first, broke the news that Sean Hawley had joined the defense team back in like November 21. Yeah, November 21. But then last year, she kept asking for delays because she was part of doing something secret. We finally figured out what it was, that she was involved in this secret arbitration for Trevor Bauer, the former Dodgers pitcher. And I guess it just got so busy for her she couldn't come to Danny's first trial. But I had checked with the court, and they had never taken her name off of the legal list, the legal team list. So here she is. She's here with Cohen, and Goldstein's not. And Sean Hawley's a much, more well-known person than Karen Goldstein. He's got a heavy hitter there with him. So we'll see what kind of a difference that makes. I mean, I'm just curious. So who does the cross-examination? Is it Cohen like last time, or does Hawley do some of the cross-examinations? That'll be interesting. So then, another interesting thing was that Cohen, as far as first day of jury selection, it's just very simple. She brings in a group of people, gives them a little speech about their obligations as a juror, and then gives them questionnaires and sends them out. And we'll see them in a couple days. But then they also went over a subpoena that Cohen wants the court to grant him. He wants to subpoena all of Kathleen Jenkins' documents regarding Masterson. Kathleen is the fifth accuser. I wrote about her last year, or a couple of years ago. She was in Toronto and had said something on Twitter about being raped by Danny Masterson, and so I wrote a story about her. And now the prosecution wants to bring her in as a past bad acts witness. Danny is not facing charges on her allegations, but now this will be 5 women coming in to testify that he raped them. And Cohen wanted a subpoena to go after her documents. And the judge ultimately said no. So that was quashed. But then we got the really big surprise, because during that discussion, at some point, Cohen had waved a piece of paper and said, "Oh, here's my defense witness list. It's pretty much the same as last time." So while we were waiting at one point, I spoke up and asked the judge something, and I'm not really supposed to do that, so I was taking a bit of a risk. But I'm a pool reporter. I'm trying to get stuff for all the other reporters. And I said, "Hey, can I get Cohen mentioned a defense witness list. Can I get a copy?" And she thought about it, and then she said, "Well, I'm going to give it to my clerk, and he's going to give it to the Public Information Office, and they can determine whether to give it to you or not." And not too long after that, the PIO office made it available for me. So I went down to the second floor and picked it up. And, last time, Cohen had put 4 names on his witness list, 3 experts and Bree Schaefer. Bree Schaefer's Danny Masterson's assistant. She was actually on both the prosecution and defense witness lists last time, but neither side ended up calling her. This time, again, Cohen has 3 experts and Bree Schaefer, but also a 5th name, Hugh Martin Witt. Now, I looked it up, and Hugh and Jen Witt are Claire Headley's parents, but I confirmed with Claire that Hugh is her stepfather, not her father. But still, he's an OT8 Scientologist. They're bringing in Claire's stepdad to counter her testimony as an expert on Scientology. The parents who disconnected her from her, right? She left Scientology, they cut her out of their lives, and now he gets to testify against her? God. And of course, my first thought was only David Miscavige could make something like this happen. Not only do I doubt that Cohen and Hawley would have come up with this on their own, but why would Witt be willing to go through this? Because David Miscavige asked him to. Now, I don't have personal knowledge of that. I'm just saying, from my years of reporting on Scientology, that's my sense, is that this is a David Miscavige move. And once again, we see evidence that Danny Masterson's defense is getting some instruction from David Miscavige. So remember, Philip Cohen was saying that he didn't want Scientology in this case at all. Now he's turning it into a full-on Scientology brawl, putting Claire Head's stepdad up against her. Oh, it's disgusting. What a first day. Wow. Again, if you want all of my notes, everything that happened today, I am sharing it with the world at tonyortega.substack.com. And tomorrow, I'll be back in there as pool reporter, and any reporter who emailed me asking for my notes will get them. So there we go. From Burbank, this is your proprietor, signing off.